Personally, I've always enjoyed working with you, and you know, we are looking at a lot of technology companies coming in, and most of these companies that we see are being run or started by young people. And the question they dabble with is, when is the right time to get into entrepreneurship? In your view, what do you think is the right time? Is it just out of school, or do you think they should get into work, get some exposure, and then do a startup?
I think what you've seen, if you look at the great startups, is that there isn't really some idea of the great time to do it. They've all happened at various different times. Google was founded by PhD students. Of course, Microsoft and Facebook were started by students who are doing undergraduate university. You also have examples of people who founded companies later in life. So I don't know that there's any perfect time to do it. What really dictates when you should consider an entrepreneurial venture is if you have the passion around an idea that you believe in 100%, is unique, can add value, and is something that you are excited to dedicate your life and your energy to making a reality.
Right. We've seen a lot of innovative products, services coming out of US, and relatively less number of innovations happening here. And we see a lot of Me Too products being launched. And you worked in India. What is your experience? Is it the product management, product development which is lacking in India, or why is this that we have less number of innovations coming from here?
I think there are many people who probably have observations on this, but from my perspective, having lived and worked in Silicon Valley for a long time and also lived here in India, working in the technology sector, I think one of the differences that I observe is a comfort with the prospects of failing in the US. If you're an entrepreneur or a founder, or you participate in a startup, and for whatever reason it doesn't go well, or it doesn't become everything you hoped it would be, that is not a bad thing. In fact, it's actually a sign of honor, because you tried, and you try to start something, you get credit for that. And actually, it helps your brand, it helps your personal reputation. The first company I joined in the technology space in my career was actually a startup that didn't necessarily succeed as other companies that I've joined since then. But it didn't hurt my career, it helped actually. One, because I developed a wonderful experience on how to be successful in a startup. I also learned some lessons from the failures and the mistakes we made, which I hopefully will not make again. And I got to know the community of people in technology, and they became comfortable with my commitment and my experience, and so it only helped my career. So I do hope that more really bright people are not afraid of taking a risk, taking a chance, and that angel investors and VCs look at people who've tried to start a company and actually respect them for making the effort.
So you think India is a little less forgiving to failures?
That's my sense.
That's your sense. On a personal side, would you invest in businesses started by young people just out of college if the concept is great, but they don't have a proven management experience?
Absolutely. I think, it's not just about the idea, it's also about the characteristics of the founder, and that's independent of age. And if you've been doing this a long time, you can tend to identify the right characteristics in someone, whether they're in their 20s or 30s or 40s or beyond. There's a certain passion and zeal, there's a confidence, there's an energy, and there's a creativity.
It's in their DNA too.
You can feel it, and it's the match of the founder and the idea. You can have a great idea, but maybe have somebody who's not so passionate about it, or not so confident about it. You can have a great person who maybe is not so confident about the idea. So it takes a match. It takes a great idea matched with somebody who is willing to give 100% of everything they have to make that idea a reality. And when you see that combination of a great idea backed by somebody with the passion and the energy to make it happen, that's an exciting opportunity worth looking at closely.
Awesome. A lot of these new startups, when they start up, they're in their proof of concept stage, and that is when they don't need too much of money. But what is important to them is getting mentored by the right person. Do you think the Indian ecosystem offers that opportunity of mentoring?
I think there are wonderful mentors in the country, people who've accomplished amazing things. The question is whether or not we're doing a good job matching those people who could be great mentors to the people who need it. So I don't think it's a lack of mentors or prospective mentors. It's matching the mentors with the right people starting the companies so they can get the proper support that they need. And I do think, just to point out, it's a wonderful thing that we're now at a stage in the economy in India where success is more driven by the power of the idea than the amount of capital you have. And in technology, it's the best example because, as you said, you don't need a lot of capital to pursue an entrepreneurial venture.
So you think the mentoring needs to be a little more organized?
Yeah, I think, the venture capital community, the angel community, have to use their Rolodex and their network and be very thoughtful about matching the right mentors to the right startups. And that's where you talk about the value that an investor can provide that goes well beyond the money. Because the money is the simplest thing to get. Right? It's the perspective on what does this particular founder or startup need, and do I know somebody who has experience and skills in that area, and can I match them up in a way that helps the startup and is interesting for that mentor.
Right. Shailesh, you worked with Google and now you're working with Twitter. Both the companies offer services for free to the consumer, and which has also created a great opportunity for startups to use it to promote their businesses. What do you think is the smart way for a startup to start using social media to connect and engage with their users?
Well, if they recognize that those tools are available and they should be used, that's a good starting point. And I think if you're a smart and scrappy entrepreneur, you're going to use free tools as much as possible to their fullest potential. I think talking to people who've used those tools before and understanding the mistakes they've made and how they optimize it. So for example, there's no reason that somebody starting a company in India shouldn't try to reach out to a Deep Kalra or a founder of another startup who's had a lot of experience using tools from Google, using social media already. There's no reason to make those same mistakes and spend that time. That goes back to your earlier question about the power of mentors. Those are the kinds of things that mentors can advise a young startup so that you avoid a lot of the mistakes that have already been made and don't need to be made again.
What is that one thing that you see when you hire a smart person for your organization, or you would want to see in someone who is getting into entrepreneurship?
I think it's passion, and the second one would be energy.
Energy.
Those are the two things. They should be the kind of people who look like they're jumping out of their own skin, they're jumping out of their chair, they have so much energy, and they have such a desire to get moving and to do things. When you meet somebody like that, it's exciting.
When are you planning to start something new for yourself?
As I said before, it's always a function of the idea. So I certainly hope if I can identify the right idea to add value to users and create value in the marketplace, I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. I'm sure this will be much useful to the audience.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much, Shailesh.
Thanks.
Thanks.